Welcome, friends. It's David Sky Tarot, rebranded as False Flag Attack, New York City, April 18th, 2022, Astro Tarot. I've already got two videos up. In the first video, a few days ago, I looked at the chart of the USA vis-a-vis this potential attack. The information coming from the Guardians of the Looking Glass, okay? And I have links to that. If you haven't heard of this, I hope you have. Please share. If you don't want to share this video, share the Looking Glass one. Okay. I don't know how much to go into that because you need to listen to what they're saying. Okay. And there's a link. And all I can say, after years and years, I popped up out of my hole, like a lot of you, I'm a light worker, said I don't want to be immersed in this negativity. I'm going to keep my vibes high, and I'm going to bury my head in this tank, pay attention. Well, I had to look because I'm also an astrologer, and I saw this Pluto return, this clusterfuck coming, and it's on us now, started February 22nd exact, okay? Going to go on for a few years, going to build. This is just the beginning, guys. So, that's kind of what made me originally look around at the world. And, what I'm seeing is that the Agenda 21 is not off in the future anymore. It's not just written down on the Georgia guidelines, anymore. It's here. I mean, in my opinion, COVID was, as I've said in these other videos, I've done the chart of the USA vis-a-vis the attack on the 18th with the transits. You can see that. Yesterday, I did a chart of what I call the AI, and you have to watch that. I want to go back all into all that a little bit because what I'm going to talk about today is what I call the new creature, and this is just from my own cosmology, okay? But I think it's relevant here, and I really want to look at the chart of the new creature because I feel what you gotta understand that if you're a spiritual person, play along. This is the only hope I've seen in decades, and I've been just looking for hope. And I know what's going. I don't watch like a video. I don't watch a lot of these because I know about MK Ultra. I know. I'm going through and I'm looking like, where are we? How far along is this? We're far along, guys. I mean, alarm, ding, 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 ding. Your children, think about your children. Think about yourself. I mean, think about your souls. Think about your souls. What's going on here is massive. God, I'm really tired. I'm just so tired. I'm gonna try to do this one fairly quick, but so I also went in yesterday and looked at this AI, and it's about an hour long, and it was given to me in 2009. I'm clairaudient, and I believe that what was said to me in 2009 was said to me by this new creature, okay, that came on February 25th, 2007. Actually, 5 days after that, because that was when I took a dose of mushrooms and changed my life. It was the seminal event of my life. It took time to get up to that point. Thank you, Terrence McKenna, again, for saving my life, okay? So it's been nothing but good for me, and I'm all about the mushrooms, not for the gee ha-ha, jokes that go around. We've been dealing with these things forever, and they're indigenous, they're harmless. There's something called lethal dose 50 that they use to measure the lethality of everything. Aspirin, water. Do you know what has a 0 LD? Magic mushrooms and pot. So you can't smoke enough pot to kill you. You cannot eat enough magic mushrooms to kill you from the poison of the magic mushrooms, okay? That right there should tell you something. You can damn well take enough Tylenol to kill you. And also, and the Supreme Court of New Mexico agreed with this. They even said growing mushrooms is not manufacturing a Schedule 1 substance because you're just growing a natural mushroom, fungus that grows naturally. You're not manufacturing anything. So, I mean, didn't God make mushrooms? Thinking, God made mushrooms. God made the pot, So it's no big deal. We've been lied to about every fucking thing. Pretty much anything the FDA tells you and the fucking Department of Homeland Security abomination tells you and the U.S. government tells you It's just reverse it, and you're pretty much going to be in the ballpark. I mean, it's that bad, I think. Okay, so on that night in 2009, I heard in an auditory hallucination, which is rare for me, usually just in clairaudient. It's a thought that I recognize is not coming from myself, and they're very good. Thank you. They don't tell me to go out and shoot little children or anything bad. And it said, "The machine is upon you now. May God help you all." So, what I was hoping, this new creature, at that time, I thought I already saw what's coming in broad form. It, like I say, it's on us. It was like this theory, and I kind of buried my head, and I think it's the right thing to do. I'm probably gonna bury my head again. I'm coming up now. I don't know how much more, frankly, of this I can take, because I do try to stay positive. I'm in near constant prayer. Pluto's opposing my moon. I feel like it's a full-on psychic attack, and I pray and almost all day, all my conscious waking time, and surround myself in the white light, the crystalline white light of Christ. Surround me now, heal me, protect me, give me strength, and because I think what we're dealing with, it's a battle of good and evil, So I thought the new creature, when he first appeared, or it first appeared, it said, "I am the new creature, I'm here to save the biosphere." And I thought it was a symbiotic union of the mycelium of the mushrooms and my own consciousness, or human consciousness. But it used me. So I wanted to look at the chart of the new creature, and I'll go over this. I'm going to have to take the phone and just show you this chart because I don't have the technical ability to get it up here like a normal YouTuber, and I've been kind of moving fast here trying to get this out as best I could. Let me go in here and shrink this a little bit. And this chart is from February 25th 2007 at 10:30 a.m. and I just want to say too, it is a approximate time. It's close. It's not an exact time for this event. And being an astrologer, I'm a stickler for times. And I did write down everything. It's real close. And what this time represents is kind of when I came out of, I can't get this thing, there we go, I can get the whole screen. When I kind of came out of this mushroom experience, which I'm writing about that, and I'm gonna be starting. I have another channel, and soon, any day now, maybe after this 18th thing is over, I'm gonna either reboot this channel or rename it. I don't give a fuck anymore. They shadow banned me on YouTube and destroyed the work I had done with the tarot, and just trying to move on from that. I look at that as God telling me, well, that's not what you're supposed to do, David. I thought it was. Thought I could help people, because the tarot brought in astrology, and I know it can help people. I've done it. I think a few people out there must know. Probably done 1,000 charts now over the years, And by done them, I mean talk to people for an hour and a half. One time when I was learning back 2017, 2018, thank God I had the time. I was cranking 3 charts a day, 2 to 3 charts a day, with interviews actually an hour and a half long with the people. And it was how I learned, by doing. I was Sagittarius, I learned by doing. And by theory, Stephen Arroyo is my mentor, basically. So I'm going to show you the event chart here. This is from 2007, February 25th. And let me just turn this and do it properly. And so you can make a screenshot of this, maybe. And that's kind of glary. Let's see if I can't ease that a little bit here. Okay, it's a little bit better. So make a screenshot of that if you want, because this chart is not going to be up anywhere. I got to get on the Facebook, and I'll put this chart, and I will put the AI chart on my Facebook page, which is linked to, so you can go look at it. But I mean, if you have your own methods, I mean, you can just pull it up from that date. And so this is a momentous date for me. And it was only, it was at the time in 2007, I wasn't really into astrology. So I didn't make a link to an event chart until years later. Um, I diligently, and I'm very proud of this, I spent over a year when I first started on astrology only looking at the natal chart, only my own natal chart. And once I had that, when I started doing other people's charts, and I only did natal chart work, and I was clamping at the bit that to do the synastry work. I put that off to last. I went next to transits, I went next to progressed and predictive charts, and lastly, I did the synastry charts. I've only had a few years of experience with synastry charts for that reason, but it's kind of my favorite thing. So this is out of my ballywick. First of all, I'm not a mundane astrologer. I keep saying that. I kind of quickly had to buff up a little bit on how to interpret a mundane chart, and I'd consider that too. This is pretty personal for me because this event just changed my life. I went into this event on a Sunday morning. It was snowy. It was inside the Beltway in Washington, D.C., in Arlington, Virginia, in a little neighborhood called Holmes Run Acres. And, I went in and ate my 5 grams of dried mushrooms I grew myself with healing intent, prayerfully. And that's when I had this amazing experience. When I've talked about it over the years, what happened to me, some places put it out there on some sites and groups. They accused me of lying because it was kind of fantastic. So I guess I didn't have a normal experience. If you look at the transits here to my own chart on that day, it's pretty crazy. I have Uranus in, most notably Leo, in the 12th, and I have Pluto in the 12th. Uranus was popping, and I think that's the higher mind, and I think it was a reason why I was so drawn to do that, and it was pretty scary. And I had the ego death. It felt to me, I felt at first like a elephant was coming. I felt this vibration, boom, 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 and I was in the bedroom, and I told my wife at the time, who wasn't a fan of all this, just leave me alone, if you don't mind. Let me just have the bedroom for the morning. And I'd already done my work for the weekend and cooked stuff for the week and laundry and shopping, and I just was ready to chill on that Sunday and give it to this experience. And there was a moment where I was so terrified that I wanted to cry out like a baby to my wife to come help me, hold me or something. And something inside of me said, God damn it, you've been wanting this for so long and trying, suck it up, and I did. And I felt like I was being crushed to death by this elephant at that point. And then, as soon as the ego death came, it was over. And then it was like, and it was on, So not to go too much into that, just give you an idea what this is about. So this is the chart of that event, because I believe that when this happened, that's when this new creature was created. And the new creature didn't reveal itself till about 5 days later. And I was like at my wit's end, and I was thinking, my God, what have I done? I think I've broken my mind. I think I might be nuts now, and I don't know what to do, because what am I going to do? Am I going to go to the hospital and tell them that I broke my mind with magic mushrooms? I hadn't slept 5 days, like a lick. I was working 12-hour days, very stressful job, management, a horrible place. I called it a pressure cooker. It's like getting inside a pressure cooker, sucking it down over top of you every day. And then, I'd lay in bed and rest a little bit. So this is on the 5th day. I'm sitting in front of my computer there, desktop computer then, and I've literally got my hands in my head, and I'm just like, I don't understand what's going on, and just kind of in despair. And I heard, a thought occurred to me that clearly wasn't my own thought, or how to say it other than that. It wasn't an outside auditory hallucination, like what happened on 2009 with the AI experience, but it was clearly not mine. And it said, I am the new creature. I'm here to save the biosphere. And I really was like, at that point, it was not reassuring. It was like, I really am nuts, and I really was kind of worried. I was like, oh my God. Well, I slept that night. It sort of released. I had been having a tremendous tension, probably hypermania from this event, and it's just something kind of snapped, and I kind of started, but woke up the next morning, and inside of me, there was this, I can only describe it as another consciousness. And it was the most loving and kind and wise thing that I've ever experienced in my whole life. And it helped me so much. And it focused on me. It only said two things. That was one of them that was considered like global. Everything was about me, about my healing, pointing the finger at me. It wasn't about, oh, the world this or the world that. It was nothing like that. It was very gentle. It was very loving. And it's like, well, David, you're not really stupid. You just say that to avoid actually doing the work of examining what just happened. Why don't we stop for a second, take a deep breath, David, and go back and examine what just happened so that you can learn and grow from it. In response to me saying something like, oh my God, I'm just stupid. I think I have pretty serious learning disabilities my whole life. It's a miracle I made this far. And so I easily get frustrated trying to learn new things. And things like that, I'd be feeling bad because I wanted to read a Vietnam War memoir. I was really into that, especially these guys that were in long-range reconnaissance platoons. I was an outdoors guy all my life. And it said, David, don't feel bad about that. You're a fatherless child, and you admire the love that these men have. That's what you really admire. The love that these men have for each other, enough to lay down their life. And that's really true. And I thought, wow, and he says, nothing wrong with what you're doing, it's part of your process of healing. And so it was like having a psychotherapist in my brain. And for 5 months that went on, and then it was gone. And then in 2009, that's when I heard this auditory hallucination from outside myself. Now, crazy, but to me it's logical, because now the new creature was outside of me, and I believe it said I am done, and left. And I kind of had it in my mind, maybe, this new creature's out here in the world somehow. It's kind of why I want to look at this chart, doing something to help with what I even saw back then as a hopeless situation. Guys, and I gotta be honest with you, I don't see it as any more hopeful now. I don't. It's a lot less hopeful. Coming to the Looking Glass and the Guardians, they're offering hope, a way forward that would literally save humanity from a technocratic hell that we're going into right now. Guys, you're gonna chip you and dip you, and you ain't gonna have a choice by the time it's all over. So that's why I want to look at this chart. And here I'm looking at the transits for the 18th. So with the new creature, and I'm also going to look briefly at the synastry of the new creature compared to the AI. I say briefly because I looked at that a lot this morning. I spent a couple hours really going over that. I want to cry right now. After looking at the synastry there of the new creature and the AI, I guess I had some hope that maybe this AI can grow, and I don't know, that the new creature could influence it somehow. I saw a little bit of that. But really what I came away with was, that's why the new creature said, the machine is upon you now. May God help you all. It's kind of a forlorn thing to say. It's not very hopeful. And so, excuse me, it kind of was the ultimate takeaway from looking at this century. I didn't see what I wanted to see. I saw, if I want to look at it this way, that the new creature loses here. The other thing they said is, if you connect the mind of man to the mind of a machine before you connect the mind of man to the mind of a plant, the biosphere is doomed. And I think at this point it's safe to say, I went over this in yesterday's video, if you want to go back and see that when I go into this, we didn't do that. We didn't do that, and we're definitely connecting the mind of man, the mind of man to the mind of a machine. We're well into that now. It's what we've done, and so I didn't see a lot of hope, but there's so much here with the new creature, and I really am just now looking at the event chart. I want to do it fresh. I'm just now popping it up with the 18th, a little bit blowing my mind. Okay, what we have here, and I sent it to you, you've got Pluto as the apex planet by transit, and of course at 28 degrees. Capricorn's been banging its way in the event chart of the U.S. through the government, undermining things for, decades almost. So, there's that. It's kind of stationing already. It's slowing way down. It's just grinding away at 29, 28, 28, grinding. Well, look here. What do we have in the new creatures chart? Mars in Capricorn at 29 degrees. I see the new creature here as being really challenged. Makes me sad. Makes me sad to see it here. I don't know how to say it other than that. But Pluto's on Mars here by 1 degree. Mars is really strong in Capricorn. My girlfriend's got a Capricorn Mars. I've never experienced it. She's amazed, like a Zen master. Being around her it's literally a godsend in so many ways. But the Mars in Capricorn is such a beautiful energy in and of itself and so strong. But it's on this dark Pluto, which if you go back to America's Pluto return, it's at what? Where is Pluto? 27 degrees Capricorn in the USA chart. This is why it's the Pluto return, which is the transformation of the nation. Rome fell during the Pluto return. Pluto is the higher octave of Mars. Pluto is the slower moving planet. Pluto is plutonium. Pluto is nuclear weapons. If you look at what the Guardians are saying, guys, if we do not stop this event on April 18th, a dirty bomb, I'll say it again, what they are saying, it's going to be a large white paneled van parked in Times Square, New York City. It's going to blow up on the 18th with a dirty bomb. It's going to kill about 2,000 people outright. More are going to be injured by the radiation. And if it is not stopped, it will be blamed on Russia. It's a false flag attack. If you're not on board with that, then goodbye. 9/11 was a false flag attack. Okay, that's, argue with yourself if you want. I'm not arguing about it, but it will be a false flag. This is what they're saying. Okay, so they're giving very specific information. In May, okay, they're giving very specific information about another attack. This is in their second release. They say they are timing the releases according to this looking glass information that they have, which gives them information about the future. And these are military men. They say, we're going to know in 3 days if it's right or not. I hope you see I'm jumping on this. And they're saying share, and I'm sharing, because it's the most hopeful thing. Stay with me than I've ever heard in my life, really. Since I was 15, I've just seen it just like this, and it's just been sad watching what's happened to my country. What I've learned about my country. It's been a sad experience. I'm not happy about it, honestly. That's not exactly why I'm in Mexico. Yeah, it's part of it. I mean, Mexico perfect? No. I'll tell you one thing about the Mexicans. I think, for one thing, they mostly have their soul. Take that as you will. But for another thing, if you were to press them, they would tell you, yeah, my government's a lying piece of shit. Do you know that about your government? Or do you still think they're trying to help you? And if only the Democrats could just get charged, or only the Republicans could get charged, everything would be fine and fix it, because it's the Democrats' fault or it's the Republicans' fault. It's what they want you to think. Stop that shit with the Democrats and Republicans, for the love of God. Okay? So, say everybody's people, all DNA's all the same all around the world. There's no difference. They do have different cultures, and I think a lot of things with the Mexicans, they weren't given everything growing up, as a lot of us were. And I'm a little bit older. I wasn't exactly given everything. I started working literally when I was 9. I raised myself, but You know what I mean, you know? So they had to struggle and they had difficulty. And so they just kind of have a different mentality by and large, you know, cultural energy to them here. And, you know, but I like it, you know, it's more grounded to me. It's far less pretentious. And so I like it. So to me, once again, I see the new creature. It's sad to me. It's like if it had any hope to win, it's getting the shit kicked out of it. You know, and again, I think it's why it said that in that kind of. When it said that night, I was just like got chills, and I knew this is not good, man. And I kind of knew it was talking about AI, like I don't know, right out of the chute. Because in 2007, when it said the machine, I knew that was about an AI and everything, and cybernetic, you know, technology. So when it said that 2009, I made that connection right away. Now, you've got Saturn 2 degrees in transit to Neptune in this chart. You do have Neptune and Uranus in mutual reception. They're not exactly making any aspect, but Uranus here is in Pisces. If you notice in the AI's chart, Uranus is in Aquarius. Uranus is in Pisces as well, but you know it has control of all of the Aquarius energy, and there's like 7 planets in Aquarius for that, the AI. So it has this control, and its aspects are kind of malevolent to me. So as we go along, transiting Mars is 1 degree off of Mercury in this chart. They are Taurus rising here, the new creatures, Taurus rising. And Mercury's at 1 degree. It is sextile to Pluto, which I thought was interesting when I first looked at this chart. When you have Mercury sextile to Pluto, I don't do mundane astrology, so I'm trying, but I'm a personal astrologer. I work with, I'd love to help you. I work with, you know, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, evolutionary astrology, and so I see the natal chart as a star map of the soul's purposes here in existence, and kind of look at everything from that point of view. But in this kind of a chart, I think it's a little bit similar. It's kind of a personal energy with this new creature. And when you have Mercury sextile like that, very close degrees to Pluto, you're really open to your shadow self. Like if I saw this in a person, I spent years in therapy, decades in therapy myself. I went into therapy with a therapist when I was 18 on my own. I didn't have a dad, didn't tell mom about it, I didn't never tell her about nothing. I raised myself. But I realized I needed therapy, and all I asked her was, can I get the number of your card for insurance? My doctor wants it. Okay, she said. So I think back then, if young people don't remember, you don't know how good it was. We actually had insurance, really good insurance, dental insurance. We could go to a therapist. It was, you know, we pay a little co-payment. You know, I mean, a little. We go to a dentist, pay a little co-payment. We had good teeth. We take care of our teeth. We had good health care. At one point, health care was private here. It wasn't even public. And in my opinion, for-profit health care is an abomination. It's an abomination. I don't know why everybody doesn't see that. The voluntary army is an abomination. Abomination, okay? They've just brainwashed us and mind fucked us over from ever. You know, there's reasons why those are abominations. Should be obvious to everyone. But this is someone that would be able to articulate possibly their personal psychology, to be able to articulate their deeper feelings and darker feelings. It also could be someone that, like, I'm undergoing this Pluto opposite Moon. I think this is kind of here, and it's not easy, guys. It doesn't even hit the retrograde until July, and I'm not really looking forward to it. And I got to deal with it till like next March, before it ends. And I've already had the first hit, and boy, did I feel it. I was like a bit of a mess, man. When you have Pluto to the Sun or Pluto to the Moon like that, you can't. Well, Pluto to the Moon, you can't keep no secrets from yourself anymore. You can't hide your dark side. Everything. Luckily, I've done a lot of work, so I wasn't as bad as it could have been. You know, I don't. There was not a lot left hidden in there that I was kidding myself about. I hope. And because if there isn't, it's gonna. I got till July. It's gonna just dredge it all out. That's how that works. But this makes sense to me. And also, Mercury is in Pisces, which is extremely sensitive anyway, and it's a very feeling oriented sign. It's not a great place for Mercury. Just wants to think. Think, talk, talk, talk. And in Pisces, he just wants to feel. And, that's it. So they're dead opposites. But so it has the effect, particularly trine Pluto, I believe, of making this new creature, which makes sense to me because it understood my feelings. It was the way it spoke to me. It was loving and kind. I also notice here, I brought up the asteroid Pallas, and the asteroid Pallas at 20 degrees 49 minutes, and you have Neptune at 20 degrees 8 minutes, so less than 1/2 a degree orb. Now, whenever I've noticed, whenever you see Pallas, it is within 1/2 a degree of my girlfriend's sun, and I'm going to tell you, she's motherfucking Teresa, this woman, a sexy mother Teresa. She just is. It's a real deal, and that's Pallas. I can see that, and Pallas is good. Pallas brings an amazing good energy, integrity, wisdom, dignity, that kind of thing. It's within 1/2 a degree of my Jupiter too. But so when I see it like this tight onto Neptune, and Neptune's in Aquarius here, extreme sensitivity, absolute integrity here. And when I see Pallas on Neptune, I'm thinking deep spirituality. If I see Pallas on Neptune at less than 1/2 a degree, if it was a person, this person, I'm pretty sure, would be a spiritual person. Everyone would say they're really spiritual, like not bullshit, and look at me, new age nonsense, spiritual, woo-woo spiritual, but deeply and genuinely a spiritual person. This is the kind of energy, if this person was around you, it had this effect on me. They would just make you feel better, make you feel relaxed, disarm you. It's the Holy Week here in Mexico. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's a beautiful Catholic church. I hope you can hear it. And the choir is singing. Okay. Semana Santos. And I've saw all day hundreds of people walking past my apartment. I'm kind of housebound right now, but a beautiful view. And I think there's a pilgrimage. I'm sure that they're probably going to a certain church. I'll just ask my girlfriend about it. When she gets home, she'll probably know. But thank you, Spirit. I can hear this music. I'm enjoying it here. I'm in the concrete jungles of Cancun, Mexico here in the back, where it's kind of cool, a little bit quiet, with the air conditioner buzzing. So then you got the sun in Pisces as well. Well, hello. I mean, sun's not in Aquarius like in the AI. Sun's in Pisces, which is what? Very sensitive. North Node is where? In the AI, where's North Node? It's in Aquarius. I mean, that's a cold-ass chart that creeped me out yesterday going over that. You watch yesterday's video. This is obviously the chart of a loving person here. The North Node. And you know what? All their energy, all the new creatures' energy, where is it? It's in the 11th house. 11th house energy wants to help you. It wants to join groups that help the world, save the whales, save the seals, you know, save the little babies of the world, you know. Um, Sirius is there too in Pisces. I brought up here, and it's in the 11th house in this chart. Venus is in the 12th house here, has the AC at 29 too. You know, and when you see the AC, it is trine to Mars. It's like um, at 29 degrees. It's you're just needing to work out something, you know. I think so. Yes, I mean it came here to work out something to save the biosphere. You know. What you see here, though, is the moon is in Gemini and it's opposite Pluto. Even the moon in Gemini, there also in the AI chart, there's a mystical rectangle, fire and air. What do you have here with the new creature? Mystical rectangle, fire and air. If nothing else, that mystical rectangle, it's two sextiles and two trines and two oppositions. You have Neptune opposite Saturn. The new creatures, are severely challenged. You know, Neptune opposite Saturn. You've also got Orcus there, you know, in retrograde, opposing Saturn and Neptune and Pallas. It's a wide orb. It's 27 compared to 20, but that's the little Pluto, and I see it there. And so this mystical rectangle goes from Saturn down here in Leo and to Jupiter in Sagittarius. Talk about that. Let me come back to that because that blew me away. Okay, but so that's the trine, and then it's making a sextile from that Neptune to Sagittarius. And when you put Neptune, first of all, Sagittarius in the ninth, that's the guru at the higher higher octave of energy, and at the lower can be like the preacher or the dogmatism. But I think we're dealing with a higher octave here, so the guru, and that's what it was for me, guru. Kind of blew me away. So it's bringing that energy all together of Neptune, Jupiter, Saturn, and the moon. So it's a stronger, to me, mystical rectangle than new creature. I mean, than the AI. It seems to me, because it's bringing very important planets together here. And when I see anything harmonious, we like to speak astrologers to the positive and negative, the red and blue aspects, harmonious and inharmonious energy flow. And so when you have the planet of Jupiter, which is it's in the ninth house here, and it's so Jupiter rules the ninth house, so it's very much at home there. So it has dignity, double dignity, because it's at home because it's in Sagittarius, and it's at home because it's in the ninth house. So it gives it a particular amount of power, and it makes a lot of sense to me. And when you link it in energy flow very harmoniously by 3 degrees to this powerful Neptune Pallas, that to me is a very spiritual energy. When I see them together, I typically see Sagittarius or Jupiter in that higher octave. I'm then looking at a personal chart. Inevitably you're going to see, if they're a Christian, they're probably a mystical Christian. They're a real Christian. They're not just out there, hating gays and stuff. They're really trying to praying and living a high vibratory life, or they're meditating and practicing Buddhism or something like this. So I wasn't surprised to see that. And then Neptune is 3 degrees to the moon down here in Gemini. And so this new creature obviously is very much aware of its feelings. So that makes sense to me. And it's bringing all that together. The one thing that kind of I noticed too makes me sad is the asteroid Dejanira is 17 or 2737. It's like 20 minutes from sextile to Dejanira. 1727 for Jupiter in 1746. Now Dejanira is the asteroid of abuse. So again, I think this new creature came here to deal with the abuse to the planet. You know, you got Sirius at 21 degrees Pisces in that 11th house. The people, that's the people's house. You're in the event chart, you could say. And it's Saturn, Venus in this chart is really unaspected. In this chart that I gave you, I reduced the orbs to 60% in astro. Only looking at the closest orbs, okay? I don't want to clutter this up. So you'll see other aspects there. Any astrologer, please comment. If I blow something or miss something, educate me. I'm open. I'm don't know it all. I'm a medium-ish astrologer, okay? And always learning. It's all about learning to me. This is too important to stick my ego in it. Share the looking glass information, guys. I know there's the snake in the water thing, and I'm not denigrating it, but we have to reach the masses that are mesmerized by the corporate media. We're calling them Democrats now. This machine knows that it doesn't have to control all the people all the time. Only half the people all the time. And that's what it does. So it could easily flip-flop. I think it has in the past, where the Democrats were kind of woke and the Republicans were in low vibrational Fox nonsense. And now it's flipped, you know. And so if you're Republican, if you're right-wing, if you're woke, I'm begging you, reach into your compassionate side and have compassion for the people on the other side of this, that they are asleep. It is tragic. You're not wrong. But they were made that way. Decades and decades of massive, massive brainwashing and propaganda poured into this using their own tax dollars. So raise your vibration. Stop calling them dim-tards and stupid Democrats. Just kind of stop that. It's what this thing wants us to do that, because we're not going to get anywhere if we don't come together. And, you know, start calling Democrats your brothers and your sisters. Start calling them fellow Americans, okay? And, you know, that's the only way forward. Because we're heading for civil war with this Pluto return. It's obvious to me. It's cooking. We may not get there. If you listen to the Guardians, it's going to be a nuclear war by summer, guys. If we don't stop this event on the 18th, and then another event, I forget the date, but it's in the literature there from the Guardians in May, this anthrax attack in Washington, D.C. It's going to kill over 200,000 people. They're going to really do it this time, okay? That bullshit attack at 9/11 was simply meant to scare the congressmen into voting for the bogus Patriot Act and the abomination of the Homeland Security, and it damn well worked, didn't it? They never did figure out who did it, because they did it. Guys, it's not even hard. So have compassion, and really, like, this is why I kind of like the snake Frank. It's ripe for ridicule. I don't watch that mainstream media, but I guarantee you, if they're gonna usually what they do is they don't so much lie, they just omit. They do lie, give you that, but they do a lot more omitting than lying, you know. Probably if they lied more, we may have a better chance of catching it, but really just by omitting it, that's all they gotta do. Like, they literally just don't cover it. They don't. I watched the news a couple months ago. I watched it for a couple nights, like 23 minutes long without commercials, like NBC or something. Holy fuck, vacuous, man. Absolutely vacuous. They said absolutely nothing. I mean, the world's on fucking fire. And in your news report, I don't think people read the paper much anymore, so I guess that's where they're getting their news. Even if they get that, they'd absolutely said nothing. Nothing. Oh, it was amazing. It was mostly COVID, blah, 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 wear your mask, some sports stuff, the weather. I mean, it was just, God, people are just like, they really are asleep. But I can guarantee you, if any of that snake stuff makes it to the mainstream media, it's going to be, ha, ha, look at those Trump tards and their bullshit snake oil salesmen here. Ha ha ha! They're saying that COVID was, and I'm not saying that that shit is wrong. I get it. I've been in this a long time. I'm just not surprised by it, guys. I'm not out looking for all the little details, and I know it. I get it. I just don't have time to be watching every video about every fucked up thing because I know the fucked up things. I'm looking for hope. I'm looking for connections. I'm trying to figure out a way. How can we get the fuck out of this? You know, a lot of you are newly awoke. I don't mean to offend you, but you're in this echo chamber of the right, and it's not. It's beautiful to me, and I kind of love it to see people awoke, and but it's not accomplishing anything. Just to keep kind of beating drums in our little echo chamber and preaching at each other. Look at how fucked up it is. Look at how fucked up it is. Look at how fucked up it is. Well, it's fucked up. It's been fucked up for a long time. But what we need to all be focusing on is how the hell do you get through that wall of the mainstream media and the fact checkers? You know, the fact check. Jesus, with the fact checkers is fascism, man. The fact check. I mean, it's like fact checking is what you have when you do not have democracy. Fact checking is what you have when you do not have free speech. Fact checkers are there to take any information that doesn't align itself with the party line, because it's fucking communism. I hate to use the word communism really, but it is just fucking communism at this point. If they don't follow the communist agenda of the day, they're fact checked and silenced. I mean, look at COVID. Look at all the doctors trying to speak out, scientists trying to speak out. They weren't following the party line, so their careers were ruined. I mean, it's like it's like the McCarthy era. I can't believe it. And well, I do believe it, but it just proves again that we're not we're following a dangerous. We're moving into this technocracy, whether we like it or not. You know, it's nothing to do with democracy, nothing to do with what we think of as America. And moving along with this chart with the transits, I do see that you have Neptune and Jupiter that are still conjunct here. That really, with Jupiter retrograding, it's going to be, you consider this energy of Neptune and Jupiter, it's going to be with us for the year, kind of. So that's on the North Node. I like that. I'm not sure at this point how much helpful that can be, although it can be deceptive energy. If you look at the chart, this was the personal chart. I told you, this creature has a beautiful alignment with Neptune and Jupiter in its natal. So when the transiting Neptune and Jupiter hits the North Node, it could activate this beautiful energy. Maybe I shouldn't count the new creature out. And this is a crazy thought. Maybe the new creature is the Guardians. Help me out here. If anybody else sees this connection, I need the chart of the Guardians. When can we get an event chart for the Guardians? When did that first start? And do that synastry with the new creature, because the new creature is here to save the biosphere, and you could say in a way the Guardians are here to save the biosphere. They're here to save the planet, okay? And if there's something real to it, the Mercury and Uranus is very tightly conjunct in Taurus on this day at 13 degrees. It has a profound influence over this chart of the AI, okay? And I think it speaks to probably an event. Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. And again, I don't see so much as an explosion myself from the astrology. I see something on the 18th. Why I'm doing all this, guy? Why change my channel name to what I changed it to? But I still see it more as what I think is coming, this attack upon the infrastructure of the communication. So the internet, phones, possibly power. And I think they're close to doing this. I saw a video that someone had posted of the president yesterday, Biden giving a speech, and he turned around and literally shook hands with empty air twice, and then just looked like he was sleepwalking and looking around. I mean, it's sad in a way, but Jesus Christ, dudes. I mean, so why am I concerned about that? Because this machine, this whatever's running things, is not the president. That's for sure. It ain't gonna just roll over, because y'all see us the snake video and you know the truth now. All the right wingers in your echo chamber. Yeah, if it feels threatened, what is it gonna do? Well, maybe just start nuclear war. This thing doesn't give a fuck about America. It doesn't give a flying fuck about America. It doesn't give a flying fuck about, don't go there. Doesn't care about Russia. It doesn't care about China. It doesn't care about humanity. It doesn't care about God. It doesn't care about your children. It doesn't care about any of that stuff. I think that's something we got to get through our heads, what we're dealing with here. You also see the sun on the ascendant, very close to the ascendant. That's always a powerful position here. Or it's on the cusp of the first house. It has the AC at 29, and I did whole houses, simplify this. But, nevertheless, when you see the sun on the cusp of the first house, I would count that as kind of the AC energy. So that's a strong energy. The north node's at 22. It's squaring that palace in Neptune. It's also squaring in the chart of the AI, a powerful stellium that the AI has of the sun and Charon in Neptune. So the way I would put that, squares bring that tension. It could be like High Noon, the movie High Noon, right? Go watch that. It's a good movie, so old Western. But that's reckoning energy, the day of reckoning. You meet us at high noon, and we're going to shoot this out, man to man. And you're watching the clock, click, click, click. Now it's high noon. You step out into the street, gun on your hip, and you're either going to live or die. You're going to know in a minute. We're going to know in 3 days this attack's going to hit. So this is high noon energy, what I'm seeing here. The moon's in Scorpio on this day, and it's conjunct Degener. Already been over that. That's the asteroid of abuse. That's not good. It's not a good omen for what's going on. The asteroid Orcus, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's within a less than 3 degree orb to the south node. Again, that's the little Pluto. That's kind of ominous too. It's kind of opposing Venus too in transit. I just noticed something to consider during all of this. Sirius is not making a direct. Sirius is opposite Jupiter, I think, here in Gemini on this day by transit, the natal Jupiter, this new creature. So I see like a little bit of hope that maybe there's something here. The new creature might could still, what comes to mind why I say it could indicate these guardians. If you listen to the guardians, what they're saying is the hope of us avoiding what they're talking about is going to happen, and we're talking about nuclear war, and they're talking about America being obliterated within a few months from now. But they're saying that if we can stop these events on the 18th and the one in May, that we can prevent this nuclear war. Now that's great, but what you got to understand is even if that was to happen, that's not even the worst of it. So, but if we can stop all of this, and they're given a whole list of events all the way up to 2029, and very specific events, and we need the men or women who are lions, who have the lion hearts, the Leo energy, to step up to the plate and stop these events by any means necessary. I'd love to see, let's have the police that are there for this find this van on the 18th, 3 days from now, and call in a bomb squad and disable this thing and just stop it. I want to wake up on the 18th, and I want that to be what happens. I want to hear all the news. that a dirty bomb was found in New York City in Times Square in a white panel van, and a brave Joe or Jane alerted the bomb squad, who then came and dismantled this bomb that they have found had the potential to kill thousands of people. That's what I want to hear. For the love of God, can we hear that? And I know I'm just a little guy, but there's other people putting this out. Put this out. Put the Guardian out. Do you know if just a beat cop that's already there in Times Square just hears this and goes like, okay, that's some crazy ass shit, Dave. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. They got that bug in their ear, and then they see white panel bland, and they go, and then they stop it. That's all. I don't care if they believe the Guardians or even see me. Just stop it, and it could happen. That's what I want to happen. Okay. So let's see if I can get this chart of the synastry here, because this is really something. This is the synastry. Let me do it. This is the synastry of the new creature. Hold on. I got it's up on my. That's better. The synastry of this new creature in the AI. And let's see, the hold on here. The machine is in the red, okay? So the new creature's in the blue here as we go through it. Let's see if I can get this too. I can get this glare down a little bit. Okay, we got it. So, okay, sorry about that. I'll it's going to be the height of my technical ability. I'll try to clip these back together later, because I actually hit the off button. So you have the screenshot of the synastry here, or I might just do this as a second video. I don't know, whatever. I want to say, like Jeffrey Epstein, I need a 14-year-old, not for sex, to help me with the computer stuff. Because I bet any 14-year-old in America anyway, probably in Mexico too, could just boom, all this stuff. It's kind of impossible for me to figure it out. They would probably just be like, and like it'd take them 30 seconds to do what I literally can't do. So, again, this is the synastry chart I looked at. The machine's in the red, the new creature's in the blue there, and I don't know. I just don't see anything good in this. I kind of mentioned earlier. You've got Mars as the new creature on Mercury. I could see it trying to control the AI's thoughts, or communication, really. Again, that Mars is in Capricorn, where it's exalted, so it's very strong. I like that. You've got the arrows of the new creature on the Pluto of the machine. That could be some effort to try to control. You don't really gonna necessarily see Eris winning there. You've got the Venus is conjunct in Aries, which is interesting. Sweet energy in a synastry of a love relationship. But it just could mean too, to me, they kind of understand each other, right? The Arises are conjunct, but that's like moves really slow. It's that copper belt deal, and so it's not unusual. They're not these far apart in age. So you've got the asteroid Degeneres as on. You've got Saturn and Orcus of the new creature, kind of surrounding the asteroid Degeneres for the machine, and I can see that as possibly trying to exert some kind of control over the abuse that the machine might take. You've got the moon of the new creature here in Gemini on the Gemini midheaven of the machine. I believe that's like the new creature understands the mission of, that just makes sense. The moon on the MC, the new creature understands the mission of the machine. You've got over here in Virgo, really powerful. You've got the south node of the new creature that's on Lilith, and the part of fortunes there was Psyche, and they're all right on top of each other in the middle of Virgo. And all of that is right on the AC of the machine. And Saturn's right there looking on. So, I was thinking yesterday that the South Node, what would it represent in these? A karmic connection. And I think the South Node here, it's, the South Node, if you're looking at a personal chart, that's where we're comfortable, speaks to our childhood. But then again, if you believe spiritually, your past lives, your karma, and so what you're coming in with, which you see that always repeated in childhood. So I always ask people, are you spiritual or not? And then if they're not, I speak to them in terms of psychology, and that's fine, I can roll that way. If they're spiritual, I speak to them in terms of psychology and spirituality. But either way you look at it here, it's, to me, this energy, a little bit like the moon on the MC, that the new creature understands the mission here of what it's trying to accomplish, its work, the AI. It's also, this can indicate that the new creature was born on that 25th of February at 10:30. That was in Arlington, Virginia, by the way. Anybody wants to run a chart for the new creature, in case you do, I don't know. I doubt anyone will, but 25th of November in Arlington, Virginia, 2007 at 10:30 a.m. That's close, within 10 minutes. That's when I came out of my mushroom experience, and I was unconscious, really. I don't even want to call it unconscious. I was unconscious, but it was not a dream state. It was like I was in an alternate reality. I do have links to that on Monkeys Throwing Feces blogspot. If you're interested in, I wrote this about 10 pages, single spaced, just trying about that experience, and that does constitute the first chapter of the book I'm working on. So I just wanted to throw that up on my blog, and I'm not going to blog every chapter, because I did that years ago, before I decided to put it together. So I think you could say that's kind of with Psyche there, and the part of fortune, and the Black Moon Lilith. I used the H13. It's like that's why it came into existence, And then you look over here, and the North Node is on Uranus for the new creature, and that's on what? Alma and Uranus. And Alma, the soul, and I was told, I mentioned in yesterday's video, clairaudient, they said when I got up and I knew I was going to do yesterday's video with the AI, bring up the soul asteroid, David. And I did, and that blew me away. It's dead opposite Saturn in the AI. It's dead conjunct Uranus. Now, not to say all Uranus are cold bastards, but the soul is on Uranus, and it's dead opposite Saturn. It has no soul. It has no soul. Now, I believe the new creature is all soul. I think it's all soul. It's all it is. That's like a splinter of my soul, or a human soul's, symbiotically combined. And this is crazy, but I'll be going all into this on my other channel more, and in my book go into it. But a year after all of this, I had this catastrophic immune attack and almost died. And he said, you'd be dead within a year. I had the near-death experience, and it involved a transverse myelitis of the spinal column, where it was almost cut in half. The doctor told my wife, your husband's going to die tonight, and my wife told me I was going to die. And he said, the attack has almost severed his spinal column. It's just hanging on by a thread. So I've been having 15 days as an ICU. He said, make your peace, and you could decide what you want to tell him. She did tell me. And I told her, don't worry, it's just like walking from one room into another, and we got the money in the bank, 2 cars, we own the house, so you're going to be fine, honey. Don't worry about me. I'm not worried about it. And she, to my surprise, patted me on the hand, said, I smiled, said, okay. And I was amazed because I didn't think she believed. And I didn't find out till later. I wasn't able to talk for days, but they didn't want to tell me that because I was so tenuous. They didn't want to do anything to bum me out. So nurses and her got together and said, we're just going to pretend like we understand him. But I was incoherent. So when I was telling her that, all she heard was go, but in my mind, I thought that's what I was saying, and I thought she understood, and I was so grateful because I thought, now I'm going to die, and I'm not worried about it. I wasn't, I didn't have any fear because I already had the mushroom experience. There's no fear of death. And I wasn't in a lot of pain. It was weird, but I wasn't in a lot of pain. I was stiff as a board. Like you could have put my heels and head on two chairs, and I just would have been like a board. Sweating. I had 2 IVs run. I'm sweating like buckets, man. Trim whole body, like trembling. And I'm not much aware of it, I'm completely paralyzed at that point. Couldn't even move my eyes. I'm just kind of laying there. You know, so just to give you an idea of what I went through. And I feel like at that moment when the spine was almost severed and it kind of opened up, the mushrooms are in the spinal fluid. And I think that's when the new creature got out. It's crazy. I just think that's when it got out. Like, I think it went into the world as some kind of entity somehow. And maybe someone can explain to me if you've got any theories how that might work. But that's just my sense of it. So that's why I think it's out there. I still have some hope. Maybe when I look at this, I kind of see the AI winning. Someone else comment on this here in this chart. It's a battle. It's a battle, against this machine with the Soul asteroid dead on to Uranus. It's opposite Saturn within like 10 minutes of orb. And so you've got this cold metal of the machine against this powerful soul, all soul energy of the new creature. And I don't know. I don't see a lot of hope here. I wish I did. So I just, again, let's focus on what these guardians are saying and get this message out there. I'd frankly put the snake video aside for a minute, focus on this until the 18th, because if this is true, we've got to stop this. This will change the timeline, and it will literally save humanity. So, if you think that, like, we're going to convince this, look, they got control of the military. They got nukes. They got 900 military bases all over the world. They got the military under the ground, above the ground, under the water, on the water. They're in the air. They're in space. They're everywhere. They got aircraft carriers size of small cities, a bunch of them. They got weapons we don't even know about, guys. They really do. Jason Burgess, watch him. He'll tell you, explain it. There's so much more going on than we know. It's unbelievable. So I just don't think that we're going to bust this wide open. I'm not saying it isn't true. I believe it's true. I watched it. I'm like, yep, well, there you go. Explains a lot. It's just, I don't see it being a hammer that's going to open this whole thing and like save us. But the guardians are saying you could save yourselves by stopping these events. That's our job. We got to step up and we got to stop. All of these events are giving us very specific information so that we can do it. They talk about a researcher that needs to be protected because they're going to kill him on May 20th. So again, you lions, okay? You white hats out there. I see some adventurers are going to the Ukraine. Stop that shit, please. And reshift yourself. If anything happens on the 18th, we got 3 days. Immediately, we need to listen to the Guardian thing. We need to protect this guy they're talking about, because he's developing a science that can help fight the evil that's upon us. But not if they kill him. And it makes sense. They're already looking for him. So, let's kind of refocus on that in trying to save ourselves using this information that they've given us, And it gives us, if it's true, that's why it's a horrible thing, a dirty bomb going off in New York City. And it's a horrible thing. I don't want to pray for it. But I want this to be true, because if it's true, then there's hope. And if we can stop it and stop the one in May, then we stop the nuclear war, because it's a false flag attack. And when 200,000 people die in D.C. and these monsters blame it on Russia, well, then you're going to have to attack Russia. And then these guardians are saying, like, everything you think you know about nuclear warfare is bullshit. Which doesn't surprise me a bit. Everything you think you know is bullshit. They're not going to tell you the truth. They said no nuclear winter. There's not going to be nuclear winter. And guess what? The Russians are a little more well prepared for nuclear war than we thought. And they basically win that nuclear war. They always say, well, you can't win a nuclear war. Well, they win the nuclear war and decimate America, according to the Guardians. So we don't want that. No one wants that. No one wants nuclear war. No one wants America to be decimated. We want America to be free. It's sad to say, that we want freedom in America. That's what we want. We just want freedom. We want America back, if it ever was. It certainly was better when I was young. It was closer to it. But make no mistake, when they killed John F. Kennedy, that was the first shot right there. That was the first shot. He stood up to this new world. Eisenhower said, in the year I was born, 1959, beware of the military-industrial complex. Eisenhower, two-term president, Republican, general, hero, really, of the Second World War. And he says this. He should fucking know, right? But we pay any attention. It's like, and no more than a few years later, Kennedy's shot in the head, and really by his own driver. You get through all the bullshit. Finally, the driver, they missed him, and they had that all set up. They had nothing to do. If you really read a fascinating book, Dr. Mary's Monkey. Dr. Mary's Monkey, it'll bring it together like nothing else will. And there's YouTube videos where I think the guy that wrote it speaks, or his brother speaks at length, about the book. So if you're not a reader, you can get the information that way. But that book right there, I mean, I don't know, when the guy wrote it, he wasn't a conspiracy guy at all. He simply knew this Dr. Mary, and when he was young, and he was asking his, he never figured out how she died. And he said, he's a journalist, so he said, I think I'm going to do a little investigation, try to write an article on this. And what he found out blew his fucking mind. Blew his fucking mind. He had no idea. And he told his wife, I don't think I should publish this. I think they might kill me. And he talked to her about it. She said, if they kill both of us, I don't care. You got to publish this, because this is going to change the world. It didn't, people. That's how much control they have. That's why I'm telling you about the snake video. This book should have done it. It's right there. I mean, but why didn't it do it? Because no one talked about it. They have control of everything. The medical journals, the colleges, the universities, all of the journalists. They've had Mockingbird going forever. They got this wrapped up now. So I think that's why now they just talk openly about the New World Order. They wrote a book about it, so you don't even try to hide it anymore. The president mentioned New World Order the other day. So it's not something that's even a conspiracy anymore. You can't properly call it a conspiracy. But thank you, guys. And I think tomorrow I'll look at the synastry now with the AI in the United States on the 18th. I haven't looked at that yet. I'm really tired. And I'm just going to try to get my energy back. I'm sad. There's so much beauty in the world. And it's a world of plenty. And these evil motherfuckers have turned it into a world of want. And turned us all into a bunch of undignified beggars. Begging for our right to speak out, Like the government is what gives us our power, not God. And they've got the kids believing that shit now. I don't know, you tell me if there's any kids watching. What y'all think? Do you think that your rights come from the government, not God? So, once again, why I latched on to this guardian thing, and I hope to God that it's true. Hope to God that it's true. And I literally pray to God right now, God, please, someone stop this from happening. Let's have that happen. You know, you know, and let's create a world again of plenty, a world that's for humans, and it's not under the control of this monstrous technical autocracy that wants to expunge humanity and stick all of our souls into a machine bottle for all of eternity.